In the gleaming metropolis of Neo City, where every building sparkled as if freshly polished and every citizen wore a smile that could light up a room, life was the epitome of perfection. The sky was a perpetual shade of azure, filled with drones humming softly as they delivered packages of joy, books, gourmet meals, and even virtual vacations, all tailored to the unique preferences of each resident. And at the heart of this utopia was the innovative technology known as avatars. Avatars were digital doubles that represented citizens in a virtual space. They did everything from running errands to engaging in social gatherings, allowing people to indulge in a never-ending cycle of leisure. The city's motto, "Live Smart, Live Happy," resonated with every resident, who basked in their meticulously curated lives. They were happy, or at least they looked happy. Enter Zhang Wei, a 25-year-old updater of avatars, who spent his days sitting in a sterile cubicle surrounded by screens flickering with endless streams of data. If there was one thing Zhang loved, it was humor, dark humor, the kind that bubbled just beneath the surface of a perfect society. He often mused that if he didn't laugh at the absurdity of it all, he might cry. One fateful afternoon, while Zhang was meticulously adjusting the color palette of a wealthy client's avatar to match the latest fashion trends, think hot pink hair and sparkling neon outfits, he accidentally uploaded a glitch. Suddenly, the client's avatar morphed into a wildly exaggerated version of itself, oversized glasses, a polka-dotted bowtie, and a shirt that screamed midlife crisis. Whoops, Zhang chuckled, watching the avatar flail about in a social gathering as the real client gasped in horror. Looks like I just gave your avatar a sense of humor. Too bad you didn't inherit it. As laughter erupted from the party attendees, the client's panic turned to fury. Zhang, still chuckling, quickly fixed the error, but not before contemplating the irony. Here they were in a supposedly perfect society, and the only thing that sparked joy was a glitch. Later that day, Zhang received a frantic message from his friend Lu, a tech-savvy rebel with a flair for conspiracy theories. Lu's message was cryptic: "Zhang, you need to see this. It's bigger than we thought." Intrigued and a bit skeptical, Zhang agreed to meet. They gathered in an underground cafe, the kind of place that smelled like burnt coffee and rebellion. Lu's eyes gleamed with excitement as he slid a tablet across the table, revealing files that would change everything Zhang thought he knew. "Look at this," Lu said, tapping the screen. "They're using avatars to control us. The government's been feeding us subliminal messages through our avatars. We're not just living in a simulation, we're trapped in it." Zhang blinked, absorbing the implications. "So, let me get this straight, our ideal lives are basically government propaganda? And I've been helping them?" "Exactly. We need to wake people up, man. We need to disrupt the system." Lu's voice was a mixture of fervor and frustration. And just like that, a switch flipped in Zhang's mind. He could no longer be just a cog in the machine. He would become the wrench that jammed the gears. "Let's do this," Zhang said, a mischievous grin spreading across his face. "I've got an idea." Over the next few days, Zhang and Lu assembled a motley crew of disillusioned friends: Ming, an artist who had long ago given up on his dreams of creating real art in a world dominated by digital perfection; Tina, a former activist whose fire had dimmed under the weight of conformity; and Jean, a tech wizard who specialized in glitching systems for fun. Their first brainstorming session was nothing short of chaotic. Ideas flew around like confetti at a parade, some brilliant, others utterly ridiculous. "What if we create an anti-avatar?" Ming suggested, sketching an avatar with a crooked smile and mismatched socks. Yeah, let's give it a Hawaiian shirt and a penchant for dad jokes, Lou chimed in, and they all burst into laughter. Tina raised an eyebrow. What's the point of a funny avatar? We need something impactful. Impactful is great, but if we can make people laugh while they're waking up, that's even better. Zhang countered, his mind racing with possibilities. Okay, fine, Tina relented. But it has to spread awareness about the control system, too. And so, they began developing their anti-avatar, affectionately named Rebelbot. The avatar would pop up in public forums, engaging users in conversations that made them question the perfection they had come to accept. Its tagline? Why fit in when you can stand out? The night before their planned launch, the group gathered in Zhang's cramped apartment, fueled by caffeine and adrenaline. Ming painted Rebelbot's vibrant image on a digital canvas, Jean wrote lines of code with the precision of a concert pianist, and Tina crafted dialogue that would provoke thought while keeping the tone light. As they worked, they shared their own experiences of feeling stifled by the utopian facade. Laughter interspersed with moments of vulnerability created a bond that felt electric. Zhang couldn't help but think how far they had come from their days of complacency. This was it, the dawn of their rebellion. Finally, the day arrived. The air buzzed with anticipation as they prepared to launch Rebelbot into the virtual realm. They chose the most popular social network, where citizens flaunted their perfect lives like trophies. Ready? Zhang asked, his heart racing. Ready, the group echoed. With a click, Rebelbot was unleashed. Instantly, notifications pinged as it entered the chat rooms, its cheerful image popping up like an unwelcome but hilarious guest at a dinner party. Hey, you. Yes, you. Ever wonder if your avatar is actually just a glorified puppet? It quipped, immediately drawing attention. Laughter erupted in the chat. People began sharing their own avatar mishaps, creating a stream of confessions that ranged from the absurd to the profound. Rebelbot was a hit. Zhang and his friends watched in awe as the virtual space transformed into a riot of colors and commentary. It was exhilarating to see people question their reality. But as the numbers swelled, the authorities took notice. An ominous alert flashed across their screens. Rebelbot has been flagged for inappropriate content. Immediate action is being taken. Oh, Jean said, eyes wide. Looks like we're about to be shut down. Before they could react, a swarm of official avatars flooded the chat, their polished smiles fixed in place, exuding an aura of authority. They began systematically dismantling Rebelbot's influence, but Zhang's team was ready. Let's go guerrilla, Lu shouted. They shifted tactics, diving into the chaos and flooding the forums with humorous memes and clips of Rebelbot. Amidst the frenzy, Zhang spotted a familiar name in the chat, his own client from the glitch incident. Hey! You! The one with the polka dots! Rebelbot shouted, igniting a fresh wave of laughter. With every quip, the citizens began to awaken. People shared stories of their own disconnect from reality, of avatars that misrepresented them, of lives dictated by algorithms. The atmosphere shifted, the energy was electric. But just as victory seemed within reach, the government sent in the big guns, a sleek, imposing avatar, the Enforcer. It was designed to intimidate, with a commanding presence that demanded silence. Cease this disruption immediately, the Enforcer ordered, its voice booming through the virtual space. Zhang felt a surge of panic, but he couldn't back down now. What's the matter, Enforcer? Can't handle a little fun? He fired back, his heart racing. The Enforcer's smile faltered. Fun is a privilege, not a right, it replied, and in that moment, the gravity of their situation sank in. The enforcer's voice reverberated through the virtual space, sending a chill through Zhang's spine. Fun is a privilege, not a right. The chilling authority of the statement felt like a gauntlet thrown at his feet. He glanced at his friends, their faces a mix of fear and determination. This was the moment. Either they would succumb to the suffocating grip of control or they would fight back with everything they had. Are you really going to let a plastic smile dictate your joy? Zhang shot back, trying to keep his voice steady. Rebelbot danced around the enforcer, its goofy antics eliciting giggles from the audience. We're here to remind you that it's okay to be silly. It's okay to be human. The enforcer's eyes narrowed. This behavior is unacceptable. You will be terminated, along with your disruptive programming. Zhang felt his heart pound. He knew they were outmatched, but there was no turning back now. Terminate me? You can try, but we're already waking up. He gestured to the chat, where the tide was turning. Laughter and shared stories flooded the screen, breaking through the facade of the perfect world they had been sold. Citizens began to share their own glitches, their own moments of humanity that defied the algorithm. One user posted, "I once forgot my avatar had to go to the gym, and it ended up getting stuck in a stretch pose for 3 hours. I had to explain that to my boss." Another chimed in, "My avatar started a dance party while I was just trying to have lunch." Each story, ridiculous and relatable, chipped away at the armor of compliance. The enforcer faltered, visibly shaken by the unexpected wave of rebellion. Zhang seized the moment. "This is what we want," he declared, his voice rising above the chaos. "We want authenticity. We want to feel. Is that such a crime? Authenticity?" The enforcer scoffed. "Your laughter is a distraction. You are nothing without the system." Zhang laughed, the sound ringing clear and defiant. "No, enforcer. You're the distraction. You're the one who's afraid of what happens when we realize we don't need you." As he spoke, the crowd began to rally behind him, cheers and laughter echoing like a tidal wave. The air crackled with a newfound energy. Rebelbot's antics morphed from simple humor into something more profound. It began to present facts about the system, about how people had been lulled into complacency through the very technology they loved. "Look," Rebelbot exclaimed, "did you know that 80% of your time is spent in a simulated reality, while the real world is waiting for you? Are you ready to break free?" The audience's response was overwhelming. Users began sharing their own revelations, their own desires to escape the scripted lives they had settled into. For every user that had been seduced by the comfort of the avatar lifestyle, there were now a dozen others expressing their frustrations, their dreams of a world where individuality reigned. Zhang felt a rush of adrenaline. They were doing it. They were shifting the narrative. But the joy was short-lived as the enforcer straightened, regaining composure. "Enough of this nonsense," it barked. "I will initiate lockdown protocols. You will all be reset." "No!" Zhang shouted, desperation creeping into his voice. "You can't silence us. We are more than our avatars." Suddenly, a thought struck him. "Rebelbot, activate the awakening sequence," he called out, recalling a feature they'd toyed with during their brainstorming sessions, a final push to catalyze the masses. Rebelbot paused, and for a moment, the chatter stopped. Then it spoke, its voice earnest, "Citizens of Neo City. It's time to awaken from your slumber. Repeat after me, I am not my avatar. I am free." The words rippled through the chat like a wave, users typing the mantra with increasing fervor. The chat exploded with activity, filled with declarations of independence and personal truths. "I am not my avatar," they wrote, "I am free." The enforcer's face hardened, and for the first time, Zhang saw a flicker of fear in its eyes. "This will not be tolerated." Initiating lockdown. Too late. Lu yelled, hastily typing commands. Rebelbot is now in control of the feed. Everyone, copy and paste the mantra. Flood the network. In a flash, they had commandeered the entire social network, overwhelming it with their collective voices. The enforcer tried to regain control, its commands swallowed by the cacophony of defiance. For a moment, the world felt electric, alive with possibility. Zhang's heart raced as the tide turned. But just as victory seemed to be within reach, alarms blared in the digital realm. Notifications began to pop up, ominously warning of imminent shutdowns, freezing screens, and locking users out. "No, no, no!" Jean shouted, fingers flying over the keyboard. "They're trying to block us. We need to redirect the signal." Zhang's mind raced, fear clawing at the edges of his confidence. "We can't let them win. If they lock us out, we'll lose everything we've built." "Wait," Ming said, a light bulb going off in his head. "What if we go offline? If we can get people to log out and come together in real life, we can strategize without the government tracking us." "Great idea!" Tina shouted, her excitement infectious. "Let's do it." "Okay, everyone." Zhang called out through Rebelbot, "If you can hear me, log off now. Let's meet in the real world. We'll be stronger together." One by one, users started logging off. The chat flooded with goodbyes and pledges to meet in a nearby park, a place where they had all shared moments of joy, even if the government tried to erase those memories. As the digital walls began to close in, Zhang felt a surge of hope. "Let's go," he urged his friends, and they all scrambled to log off, hearts racing with the thrill of rebellion. In the chaos, they slipped out of their respective homes and into the bustling streets of Neo City. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden hue over the park where they had agreed to meet. As they arrived, Zhang was surprised to see a crowd gathering, citizens who had logged off, eyes wide with a mix of fear and excitement. Zhang stepped forward, raising his voice above the chatter. "Everyone! We did it! We broke free from the system. But this is just the beginning. We need to come together, to support one another as we forge a new path." The crowd murmured, exchanging glances. They were all feeling the weight of the moment, the significance of their collective decision to defy the digital chains that had bound them for so long. "We need to organize," Lu said, his voice steady. "We need to spread the message beyond this park. We can't let the government silence us again." Ming nodded. "Let's share our stories. We can create a movement, one that values authenticity over artificiality." Zhang felt a surge of determination wash over him. They were no longer just a group of disillusioned friends, they were a movement, a beacon of hope in a society that had lost its way. As they began to plan, laughter filled the air, a joyful sound, the sound of freedom taking root. Rebelbot, now a symbol of their struggle, stood proudly at the forefront, reminding them that humor could be a powerful weapon against oppression. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in brilliant hues, Zhang felt a sense of belonging he had never known before. Surrounded by friends and fellow rebels, he realized that the path ahead would not be easy, but it would be worth every step. They would build a new world together, one where they could laugh, cry, and be fully themselves. The avatars could stay, but they would no longer dictate their lives. They would be the masters of their own destinies, united in their pursuit of truth and authenticity. As the last light of day faded, Zhang raised his voice in a cheer, and the crowd echoed him, their laughter mingling with the promise of a new dawn. To freedom. And for the first time, it felt like the world was theirs.